Good morning. Yesterday we went and got our Christmas tree from a family I've known literally since I was born. Every single Christmas tree I've ever had has come from the same place. Anyway, they gave me a giant, cubic yard of stuff to see if I could get prints out of it because they really liked my leaf prints. So I want to see what will print. So we're going to do some controls with just, iron mordanted cottons and a couple different textures to see what it does. And we'll be trying a bunch of different firs and what I think is a cedar. I want to say it's a cedar. It's probably a cedar. Anyway, we're going to do that and test some controls and see how they come out of the steamer because it'll be fun. All right, let's do it. Here is the magnificent box of fluff and stuff that I have been given to dye with, or print with, I suppose. I have seen firs print in red. She gave me some that are big needles, some that are small. We have wild mistletoe to try. There's a whole bunch of good stuff in here with all different lengths of needle to see how it does. And now we're going to see what prints. I have created a nice, strong iron mordant bath here. Keep in mind that at a high enough weight of fiber to iron dust ratio, you can just dye fabric gray because it will oxidize and fuse to the fabric. Like you got rust on your clothes that now is there forever. So if you put too much iron, you can weaken your protein fibers, and then you can also it will turn all gray. So don't use too much. I probably used a full teaspoon in this whole bowl. Anyway, I have over here, let me show you. I have basically just a whole bunch of non-mordanted cotton. It's just been scoured. I haven't oak gall tanned it or anything like that because that will react with the iron. So we're just going to see if it'll print that way first. I have some silk noir. And I have a piece of silk charmeuse because they take on color very differently, I've learned. And we're going to iron mordant all of them. We're going to roll them up and to see and try to get the cleanest prints we can. We're going to use plastic to make sure that they're not muddying each other up so we can get our best guess of who's doing what and why. I also grabbed some of the cedar that had the little tips on it to see if the little pollen buds do anything of interest. I don't know that they will. I don't know that they won't. We're doing an experiment. All right, I will show you these as I roll them up. Hopefully I'll remember. We'll do our best. All right, so we have our 3 types laid out here, including on a little piece of charmeuse. I'm going to plastic this, fold over that extra part, and roll it. And that's the steaming pot. It sounds terrifying as it heats up. Cheap pots sound scary. Anyway, and then we'll repeat the process with cotton that has been mordanted in iron. This is a very strong iron mordant. That is why it is red-ish. Hopefully that will be okay. We're about to find out. Either way. Oops. All right, so for our cotton one, we're going to do triple duty here. I've got all of our cedar down, but what I'm going to do is put plastic across the top of the cedar, and then I can fold over one part of the towel, print on that, put another piece of plastic, flip that over, print on that, do another piece of plastic. So we're going to make this one do triple duty, and then maybe I don't actually even need to do the other ones, but I probably will anyway, because at this point I'm cutting up a bunch of stuff on my counter. So here we go. All right, I forgot to show you before I folded it up, but in the interest of chaos, we're just going to do a chaos one, no plastic, roll her up, see how they interact with one another, because that can also create some weird reactions. Yeah, so let's get these in there since the other 2 are already rolled up. Okay, I have cranked up the heat, and we will be letting these go for an hour to an hour and 20 minutes, which is usually when my back has had enough of a break to stand up again. So these will be going, and then we shall unroll them together and see what hell we hath wrought. I'm going to take you along with me as I both attempt not to burn myself with steam and open up our thing, and we may see that there was a reaction. Hopefully we see something. I don't see a lot, which scares me. No, there's reactions happening. I see it through the fabric. Well, they've been in there an hour. I could let them go longer. I've never had to let something go longer. Meh. I don't know. I might let it go a bit, but either way, we'll take them out, cool them, and then I will speed unwrap them And we will see what our Christmas tree farm ranch items have done. There's definitely stuff going on in there. I see printing. I see it through the fabric. Oh, sorry. Oh God, that was dumb. All right, well, BRB. All right, friends, we're here. I'm wearing gloves just for a little bit of extra heat protection because I have steam burned myself a whole bunch doing this, and I just peeled off like all of my fingertips last week. Anyway, I'm very excited to open these with you. I don't know which one to do first. I think we'll just do the chaos one because it looks very chaotic. And then we will, it's still steaming. There's like actively steam coming off of these. So maybe we'll start at the thinnest one that's the least likely to burn me first. But either way, let's speed through the unwrapping and then we will discuss the results. I can already see a bunch of iron black coming through. Oh my God, the steam. Is this safe? Not for you. Don't do this if you're you. It's fine for me. I'm an adult and I consent to burning myself. All right, so we learned some very fascinating things here. We learned that the silk charmeuse did not necessarily pick up any more color than it would have otherwise, so this might not be the best place to use our fancy charmeuse. However, the cottons did great. And look at what the fur did. Like, there's some really cool prints here of the cedar, but it is not as cool as this crazy pattern from I think it was either a noble fir or a white fir, and it did the same thing on these, but I find it so interesting the way that different types of cotton uptake things differently, because like you get a really pretty print out of this one where it's very calmed down on the other, and then on our silk, it got some print out of the mistletoe here, but not a ton. So it might just not be the time of year for the mistletoe. We got some really pretty prints. Again, it might just not be the time of year for the cedar. We might want it like dead of summer when it's really, really parched and dry, because these are beautiful. They look like coral reef prints. We'll see how they wash out. These are still damp, so it's a little more intense in color. And this is the fur. So everywhere that fur is, it is reacting intensely with the iron. So we know that the fur is the way to go. And because I had hoped that something would come out really great from this little shenanigan, I have already prepared more. See, like, look how great this one came out. Like, this one came out fantastic with both the cedar and the pine. But why? Why are you so much better than the others? We'll figure it out because I'm going to do some more. It looks like this one I just folded over, so it printed on both sides. I wonder if I squeezed this one out more or if I left more iron in it. Well, good news is I mordanted a bunch more, or not mordanted, but I scoured a bunch more cotton. So we have the opportunity to do some more of these, which I will probably roll up now because I want to do it while I have the materials fresh. So reset and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, if we learned anything from our past experience, it is that, for whatever reason, these printed best on the bandanas, so we're going to do that again. I've given them a good soaking in another deep iron bath, and we also learned that the only places that the fur printed without making it just dots, where it was like touching the ends of its needles to the fabric, is where it was laying flat. So we're laying them all flat this time, or were. Rude. Stop that. Lay down. Anyway, we're laying them all flat this time and doubling them over and letting them go full chaos because that's what looked best the first time. And we're also going to try a shemagh as our secondary experiment because those are like a cotton woven thing that you wear, and they're large and they're a slightly looser cotton than this, but not as loose as a tea towel. So I want to see how those do as an experiment. And then I think we'll be done with this experiment for the day, and I might let some of them dry out to see if they turn into something that looks like dye. All right, using all of our knowledge, here goes round 2, and we will see how we've improved. If the camera is shaking, it's because I have dystonia in my hands, and I'm sorry. Either way, see you in an hour. We have returned after a healthy steaming that has made my entire house smell like I don't know, a still? Where would you be extracting smells such as this and terpenes? Anyway, let's unroll these. They're still steaming, so we'll do the skinnier ones first that are less burny. I've got my extra layer of skin on. All right, let's do it. We're back and everything is dry. I want to show you what we learned about our printing here. So this is on a silk charmeuse. I find it fascinating that we got a very beautiful, if faint, print from the cedar. I suspect the cedar will be better at a different time of year because it's making these like incredible coral prints, but only sometimes. So I suspect that has to do with the dryness, and I got mine from a mixed pile that was going to be discarded. So we also saved the universe a little bit. This is our other piece of silk, which again, shockingly, usually takes up leaf prints really well. So I again suspect that this is due to the time of year because look how cool. These look like coral and algae of a very specific species that I'm not remembering the name of, but it lives off the coast of California. And then we have down here our noble or white fir, I believe, not noble fir, but white fir. And you can see where the stems were, and there are some green lines up and around here. But again, I suspect that it might not be the season, but they went really crazy, and this was before I figured out it would be better to put them down on their side rather than flat or like spreading the needles out and trying to squish them. So once I figured that out, we did that better in the second round. And then this is where we had the mistletoe. And it made a really nice green. You can see because we rolled this up, there's some places where we've got like kind of Rorschachian splits here going on. And you can see the right side and wrong side that these sometimes get, where these are much, much, much clearer, as you can see. But because we separated with plastic, we got very singular and separate prints wherever we put anything. So it's not very mixed up over here, just where we happened to maybe throw or sprinkle some of the needles. Kind of a similar result on our tea towel, specifically this first one, which if you remember we put plastic with, and we put plastic with this particular bandana as well. These were our two first set, and I kept them separate so we could admire them and also understand them. So the rust bath also stained the fabric, which is kind of fun. It turned it a nice red. Where we had our other plants, we do have some very faint prints of the cedar on both sides. You can kind of see it there. Very little as far as the mistletoe. It actually kind of did some weird bleaching over here that's odd. And then we have the really fun iron interaction that I don't think you could try to make that pattern if you wanted to. So if you need a very randomized, very cool, irregular pattern to work on, this was great. But on the second one, which we did chaos style, which means we didn't put any plastics in between it, there was a massive difference. And that is the one after this one. This is the one that we also had pulled separate. So we have a huge iron interaction over here, and that's from interacting with the tannins in the fir. And then we do have some pretty nice prints here of the cedar again, but not as bright as you might expect. And then we did chaos wrap. These ones had the plastic, as did the silk. Now we get into the ones that we wrapped with chaos. So there's clearly an interaction happening between these cedars and the white fur around it, because look at how much better the print came out when we did it all higgledy-piggledy and just did it chaos style. Look at the difference. Massive difference, as you can see, obviously. Huge difference in the quality of the print. It looks, and you can even see like the needles. You're getting like a silhouette of the needles here. Like, so cool. So cool. So the other one that we did with this one was a bandana. And that one we chaos wrapped as well. And this one might be the best of all the bandanas we did. Look at how cool it is. Like, it's really cool. It's got super crisp cedar prints. Just enough of the fur to like activate everybody. And in the other ones, I went kind of crazy with the fur because I thought I had figured out how to smoosh it properly so that it would print really well. And those did print really well, but it actually took down the power of the cedar. So riddle me that. But this was our chaos print where we just folded it in half and rolled it so that it's kind of all in contact with itself. So I don't know if there's something having to do with how much steam is getting to penetrate and actually heat up the plant material. Like perhaps the plastic is blocking some of the heat. It needs to actually get to a superly boily temperature. Don't know. But you can see we got these like really cool, it looks almost like the fossil tail of a dinosaur when they like find fossilized feathers. And the rest of them have some really cool marbling on them. I'll kind of take you through the pile here. And then we have the shemagh at the end. So we have some like really cool interactions over there. Let me zoom you in. Maybe that's easier. You can see all these really cool interactions happening between the cedar and the pine. And I really like that. Look at these. It's like they're blocking for each other, and yet somehow they need one another to work. And some of these have some really great, like look at the prints on the top of this one. Like what a cool print that is. It looks like the feathered tail of a dinosaur. There's another really good print on that one right there. There's even some really good cedar prints on here. So I think this will, look at how good this one came out. Look at the cedar prints on this guy. So cool. It's like a coral and algae. I love that. It looks like we let a slime mold grow on it a little bit. In the best way. Look at how cool. I think these are so neat. And this one had even printed pretty well on the edge. I still find it fascinating. It seems like the very thickest, very densest of the laid on the side furs do the best as far as the print. But I still think these look really fun. It's like we tried to make our own actual stone marbling pattern. And then here's our shemagh, which I did mostly in the pine because I knew that it was not going to take up dye on the polyester thread that part of it is made of. It's woven mostly of cotton. I say mostly strongly because there is clearly places where no dye is being uptaken because it's polyester.
But look, we got some really cool prints on this shemagh, which is like a desert. And it's very Rorschachian as well, because I did kind of like a shibori fold and accordion folded that onto itself. So we've got like some of these really cool prints like this one. And it's a perfect mirror. But look, you can see like all the different needles and all the different coolness of the big plants that I stuck down on there, even on this side. And you would not be able to see this if you were just wearing it. So I'm not sure it's like super great for fashion unless you're going around like trying to hide from people. Great for a ghillie suit, especially if you live in Southern California. You will really blend into the mountains out here. Anyway, I'm really pleased with these, and I did find it a little more difficult to wash this one because the, again, little polyester fibers latch on to any of the needly bits that come off. I don't know. I think that's still pretty fun. I like it when something isn't clearly obvious what is making the pattern. Does it perhaps look dirty from far away? Yes, but do I care? No, because I like it. Look at all these weird swishy bits. So fun. Anyway, I really appreciate you coming on this little miraculous... Look at this. Look at this cool part. Look at that. So weird. Anyway, thank you for coming on this magical experiment. If I end up testing these on cashmere, I'll do another one because I have a full width shawl that's like 26 inches and I'm not even sure how well fold that, but we will figure it out, and I will make a separate video for that because I think that deserves its own video since we'll be steaming an entire like sheep's worth of wool. Anyway, thank you for coming, and I hope you will join me in another experiment. We have many more to come because I have like a cubic yard of stuff to use up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!